Welcome to today's section on ISO 27001 and threat intelligence. I'm Emmanuel, and in this video we are going to dive deep into Annex A Control 5.7, which talks about threat intelligence. If you've been feeling a bit nervous about this control, you are not alone. It's a topic that's been causing some confusion. I'm here to clear things up for you. Now, threat intelligence means that you are collecting and understanding information about possible attacks so you can prepare and defend your organization. Today we are going to break it down. We'll go over what it is, how you can implement it, what auditors look out for, and the common mistakes that we need to avoid. Now, this roadmap shows you exactly what steps to follow and what proof to gather for auditors. So let's get started. Now, what is threat intelligence? Threat intelligence is about gathering relevant information from different sources, analyzing it, and understanding where there are any current or potential threats or potential security threats to your organization. Now, it's about being proactive. When we say it is about being proactive, what we are saying is that you are acting before something bad happens instead of reacting after the incident. This isn't new, but what's new is the formalization of this process in the 2022 or 2022 version of the ISO 27001 standard. Formalization means that ISO now specifically requires a documented process for threat intelligence. You are expected to collect and analyze information related to threats in your infrastructure. Once you have this information, you can act on it, prevent, detect, and respond to any threats. Prevent means stop attacks. Detect means spot them quickly, and respond means that you need to fix or contain them. While you can create your own threat intelligence, the reality is that most organizations use information that's provided by external sources, such as government entities, independent providers, and security firms. So you have companies like SET, Computer Emergency Response Team, or security blogs that share timely threat updates. There will be products and services that are emerging that you can also pay for to gather this kind of information. But the reality is that you can do this quite effectively on your own without spending a ton of money. There are free resources like open source fees, security mailing lists, and vendor advisory that often you can provide plenty of useful intelligence also to you. Now, what is the purpose of this control? So why does this control even exist? Annex A 5.7 is designed to help you stay aware of all the threats your organization faces. It is a preventive, detective, and corrective control that ensures that your team can take appropriate actions to mitigate those threats. Now, when we say that detective controls means that detective controls finds problem, corrective controls fix them, then the preventive control stops them. In simple terms, the goal is to help you gather information, analyze the information, and take action to protect your organization. So think of it like a circle. You gather, you analyze, and do what? You act. Here's your official definition from ISO 27001 standard. Information related to information security threats should be collected, analyzed to produce threat intelligence. This means that you need to document where you get your threat data and show how you turn it into usable intelligence. That's the gist of it. Always remember that ISO 27001 isn't a detailed checklist. It's a framework. So not all controls will apply to every organization. For some of you, threat intelligence might not be necessary. And that's okay. You can choose to accept the risks of not implementing this control if it's not worth the effort or cost to your organization. Accepting risks means noting in your risk register and getting management approval. So don't just say that I'm not going to implement it and I've accepted the risks. No, you need to make sure that it's well documented because auditors will look out for that. Now, how do you implement threat intelligence? There are key steps that you can go through. Now, let's talk about the implementation. If you are working with a client or setting this up for your organization, there are several steps to follow. Now, first, you need to set objectives. You need to identify the internal and external sources that you are going to be able to get this information also from. You need to be able to vet or assess and document your sources. You need to prepare the information also for analysis, and you need to analyze the information that you are getting. Then you need to be able to share this kind of information. Let me take you a little bit further. When I say you are setting objectives, first you need to define your goals for threat intelligence. What are you trying to achieve by collecting and analyzing this kind of information? So you can say that maybe I'm trying to reduce phishing incidents by 50% or detect malware within the next 24 hours. Then you need to be able to secondly identify internal and external sources. You need to determine where you get your information from. Internal sources could be your monitoring system, where if you have your vulnerability scanning tools, you can use that, your log files, your Splunk, your log files or records of incidents. Then your external sources could include newsletters, threat intelligence providers, government bulletins, and industry forums. Now the third one is the vet documents and sources. You need to trust the information you gather, so to make sure that you vet these sources very well and when necessary. To vet means that to check the credibility of the person that is providing you those information, because remember, it's security we are talking about. Then the fourth one is to prepare information for analysis. Your raw data doesn't do much on its own. You need to be able to format it, translate it into something that is very useful. Example, you can convert all your IP address block lists into a format that your firewall can read. Then you can use that to be able to detect where the vulnerabilities are being identified. Then the fifth one is you need to analyze the information. Here is where you assess the information that applies to your organization. So if you are receiving threat intelligence about a specific operating system vulnerability and you don't use that system, it's not relevant for you. Focus on the threats that match your organization or your risk profile. And I'm sure you understand or you know what a risk profile is, because we talked about it in one of our classes. Share information, that is the sixth one. Once you have actionable insights or actionable intelligence, it's important to communicate with the right stakeholders in a way they can understand and act on, using clear reports and dashboards showing key threats and recommended actions. And this takes you back to the previous control that we talked about, that whenever you're having information, you need to have external sources that you are sharing them, or you are sharing this with them. You see how all those controls come together. Now, how do you integrate threat intelligence with risk management? Now, ISO is built around risk management, and threat intelligence plays an important role in that process. You use those information that you gather to inform your risk management decisions. And your risk management that we are talking about is identifying, evaluating, and prioritizing on your risks based on your threat intelligence. So your threat intelligence that you collect should guide you on how you are going to implement and configure your technical controls to mitigate the risks that emerge. It's not just about collecting the information. It's about taking the information and using it to improve your security posture. Your security posture is how well you can prevent and respond to threats. Now, there are three levels of threat intelligence. You have the strategic, the tactical, and the operational. Strategic, this provides a high-level overview of the threats landscape. It's more about understanding the broader trends and risks. Meaning that knowing that there's a ransomware attack that is increasing in your industry, then now you see that is what we call a strategic threat intelligence. The tactical focuses on the tools, techniques, and attack methods used by the criminals. Meaning that you are learning that these attackers are using the new phishing technique to be able to attack your environment. Then the operational has to do with, it provides you insight into specific attacks, including indicators of compromise and tactics being used in real time. That is when you identify that an IP address currently used by attackers and blocking it. So when you look at these three, strategic, that talks about the fact that, okay, there's a threat that is going on. The tactical, that talks about the mode or the method that they are using to be able to attack your system. Then the operational talks about the specific insight or the specific attack that they are using. Are they coming through your employees? Are they using the IP addresses? That is what that is about. And those are the 3 methods. Now, what auditors look out for when they come for threat intelligence or when they are coming to assess this control? When an auditor reviews your implementation of threat intelligence, first and mainly, they are looking for evidence. So you need to prepare this document to prove that you are in compliance. First, a list of your sources. Can you show a list of where you are gathering your threat intelligence from? You need to have the source name, the type, the frequency, the contact details. The collection records. Do you have records of how you've been collecting the information? Do you have spreadsheets or logs showing the collection dates and method? The report and communicate. Have you shared the information with the right people? And do you have reports documenting that? Your meeting minutes, email summaries, or dashboard. What actions have you taken? What actions did you take based on the threat intelligence? Did you update any system, change configurations? This has to be documented as part of your continuous improvement and change management process. So you have your change tickets or your security impact analysis that you submitted. And the last one has to do with risk management. That's your risk management process incorporate threat intelligence. Does your risk register reflect emerging or realized threats? And your risk register entries is supposed to be linked to specific intelligence reports. So you tell us that, okay, this risk that you have on your register is coming from here. This is a source of it. And that is what we talk about when we are talking about threat intelligence. Now, what are some of the common mistakes that we need to be able to avoid? 1, not collecting threat intelligence. I'm sure that one you understand it. And this is a new control, so it's easy to overlook. But the key is to collect and analyze it regularly and make sure it's documented properly. 2, relying only on internal sources. Internal data is useful, don't get me wrong, but relying solely on it can give you a limited view of what is going on. External source of threat will be able to broaden your perspective and give you more understanding of potential risks. So you need to be able to combine the logs with the external feeds for a full picture of what you need. Then the third one is outdated documentation. This one comes up in a very, very, very deep dive. It's important to keep your documents up to date. Your version controls, the dates, document classification, and ensuring that everything is reviewed periodically and are key to stay in compliance. Use version numbers and review dates on every document because auditors always look out for those things. Why is this important, or why threat intelligence matters? This helps you to be aware of the evolving threat landscape. It helps you by gathering and sharing intelligence. You can take collective action, you can strengthen your defense, and ultimately, you can reduce the impact of potential threats. We can't protect against what we don't know. So once you know more about these threats, then now we can act and protect. There are some questions that many people ask. I want to address some of them in here. Now it talks about, are threat intelligence or is threat intelligence a new control? Yes, it is, but it was introduced in 2022 updates of the ISO 27001. What are the 3 levels, strategic, tactical, and operational? We talked about it. When was it added? 2022. What does it cover? It covers the threat intelligence, and how long will it take to implement this control? Now, if you are starting from the scratch, it might take you a day to set it up and document everything properly. And remember, it should be free, aside from the time that you spend gathering and analyzing the information. Now, let's wrap up. So when it comes to ISO 27001 Annex A 5.7 threat intelligence, if you follow the steps and document everything correctly, you'll be in good shape. Use the 6-step process that keep the evidence organized, and make sure that you are keeping records of them, updating the dates regularly. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, and leave a comment if you find this helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next class.